Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Minister, for your policy statement. I want to declare here and now that I share a long history with the Honorable Minister of Information, having been to tertiary school together, although she was slightly behind me, and she is indeed in the right place because she trained as a journalist who should understand very well that even in diversity of thinking, there can be unity. I would like to anchor my short debate on the media. The media is known to be the fourth estate, and it is there primarily to give society leverage to do their own introspection, therefore checks and balances. The media freedom of expression sits at the heart of the fundamental rights and freedoms of an individual. I would like to also make a few comments on the development of the media freedom in this country, the community voices, the access to information, and the media reform. Honorable Minister, we have no choice but to support your budget, but I want to sound out a few things that you must take note of. It is surprising that if you read your manifesto, PF manifesto, what it says about media and reform, what Mr. Sata, to be precise, said in the 2011-2016 period, and what you said now, those of you who are still among the living, in the 2016 to this period's governance period, and what you are doing are totally different. Under your leadership as PF, Honorable Minister, media has suffered a great deal of anguish from your newly established Independent Broadcasting Authority, IBA. The IBA has been victimizing stations, both TV and also radio stations. This must come to an end. You must stop. Ask the IBA to behave themselves, not to take the law in their own hands. But I have a cartoon here, which I will lay on the table, of some scholar who drew the IBA. Here it is. The government whispering to the IBA, saying, fix him. And the IBA here is saying, sure, boss. And the IBA is grabbing the shirt of the independent broadcasters. This is in the case of, if you do recall, under PF, the first victim was Movie TV. The second victim was the Post newspapers. The third victim was Prime TV. And I was very delighted when I heard my young friend, Honorable Mwetwa, state that ZNBC or PF Sunday Interview had to be rebroadcasted on Prime TV under a paid-up program. I mean, look, how do you go and ask another private TV station to broadcast your program when you claim to be the most widely watched organization? The most supported organization. On my payslip, on my, my ZESCO bills, every month, every time I go to make a payment at ZESCO, I support this ZNBC. This ZNBC, which practices propaganda. And propaganda, basically, is a way of enlightening, in inverted commas, society to the benefit of the ruling party. Fortunately, society, now social media has even become much more powerful than ZNBC. And it will continue to be more powerful. It will continue to spread news faster than ZNBC. We all pay taxes. Honorable Minister, drift away from condensing the stories in the public papers and electronic media to only your activities. Because we pay tax. Give you an example. Isn't it big news when the Minister of Mines and a few government ministers go to Cape Town to attend the Africa Mining Indaba, and the leader of the opposition in this country is addressing a gathering? Isn't that big news that one person of excellency has been invited to go and address the Africa Mining Indaba in Cape Town? Is it because you don't like the face of Mr. Hichilema? Why isn't that newsworthy? Why didn't BC not air the 2 times when Mr. Hichilema went to address the mining Indaba in Cape Town? Yeah. He's a distinguished individual, even if you don't like him. He pays TV levy, even if you don't like him. Exactly. Isn't it big news that the Minister of Finance is in Washington? All right? Dealing with the IMF. And side by side, the Woodrow Wilson Foundation calls Mr. Hakainde Hichilema to go and attend a meeting. Isn't it big news that a citizen has been invited by a big... Woodrow Wilson was, I think, the 41st president of the United States, running a foundation from 1941. Isn't it big news if, for instance, you, Honorable Minister, were invited to go and address that foundation? Why should it be big news for you and not be big news for Mr. Hichilema? Whether you like it or you do not, whether it's distasteful or it is not, the fact of the matter is that it's a stubborn fact that we from this side provide checks and balance on you, and we are an alternative government. The courtesy is on the people of this country. They are the ones who choose. And Honorable Minister, all these comments that I'm giving to you border on fairness. And to be fair is not a sign of weakness. I read a report where your PS, I think Mr. Kasolo, was quoted as saying the Minister of Information, and I was pretty impressed, would not be averse to members of the opposition coming to a platform on ZNBC to argue with members of the ruling party. It is there. He said he thought you would not be averse to giving that platform. The only thing that ZNBC, Daily Mail, and those quasi-governmental operatives of yours will do is make headline news. Hakainde Hichilema treason. Things that don't even exist. They make Christmas Day out of bad reporting, out of no case. If today, Honorable Minister, I was caught on the wrong side of society and the norms of society, I can assure you, you will see this face on ZNBC tonight. But for whatever good we may do, we are blacked out. We are blacked out. I think there is need to change. Because the only thing that is permanent in this life of ours is change. It's constantly coming. And you yourself, Honorable Minister, in supporting your budget, at least I know you are a civil person. You are approachable. You do not hibernate your feelings about what you do. Try to synchronize those compliments that I'm giving you to your colleagues also, who have no tolerance whatsoever. No tolerance whatsoever about the activities of the opposition that form news. Under PF, another report that I have about the media is that the police, and there are citable examples, the police, the PF, and also IBA have got a secret union. Secret union. PF, if you haven't heard that PF have beaten up a journalist in Chipata and made him drink urine, it is the police who has gone to Mansa to close a program when Chishimbakambwili is talking. If you haven't heard that it's the PF who have gone to try and stop Chishimbakambwili talking in Kabwe, and then they get the beaten the daylights out of them. You remember that PF were beaten like small little children in Kabwe when they wanted to stop Honorable Kambwili from interacting with the people in Kabwe. If it's not the police, it is the PF. If it's not the PF, it is the IBA. The enemies of the media. Now, you belong to PF, Honorable Minister. I don't even understand. Anyway, you are there to serve. You belong to PF. PF has never meant well for journalists. You remember the case of Lesa Kasoma? Beaten at her own radio station, Kombon, under PF. Taken, dragged to court, she won the case under PF. You recall how Hakainde Hichilema exited through the roof at Sun radio station in Ndola because PF were outside with the pangas wanting to exterminate his life. There is no pride. There is no pride in pretenses. Things are not right in your ministry, madam. And take this as brotherly advice from me. You can make a difference. You can. You still have one more year or in a few months to make that difference so that society can be balanced. Today I chose to be a bit slow so that we can try to galvanize ourselves to one page. The media is important. It should not be stifled. It should not be victimized. I would like to hear from you, even as you respond. Where is the benefit of the contract, the contract that Star Times and ZNBC signed? The Consumer and Competition and Protective Commission did authorize you sometime in 2018 to do a measure, I think it's called a measure. Where is the benefit of that loan that we entered with Star Times to a point where now people are even doubting the ownership of ZNBC? Where is the benefit to the Zambian? Those are serious issues, Honorable Minister, that as we support you, you must have a change of mindset. That if today I want to go and appear on ZNBC as it was when Honorable Ronish Kapwasha was Minister of Information, I'm not cited like Dr. Mumba as a trespasser and convicted to jail for going to a public television station. It's really shameful. It reminds me of Joseph Goebbels. I'm sure you remember Joseph Goebbels, the Minister of Public Enlightenment and Propaganda under Adolf Hitler. That's what you remind me of. And Hitler was a dictator. I put it to you that even under PF, you are nothing but just dictators. Dictator. People who want to just have it their way. Dictator is not an insult.
Honorable Mr. Nkombo.
Sir.
I think the statement where you have used the word dictator is not sitting well.
With who?
With the House and the nation. And I request
they are Democrats, they are autocrats,
and I request you, order, Mr. Nkombo. You have done so well so far. And I wish to thank you. Let's not Let's not move away from what you have done so well. We'll lose nothing. Just withdraw that statement and move on.
I am so sorry. I apologize 1,000 times. In my mind, I think that governance under President Edgar Lungu is dictatorial. That's what it is. It has no other definition. And because of that, I find it extremely difficult to withdraw.
A point of order is about to be raised because I've not permitted it anyway. Take your seat, Mr. Ngulube. It is because of that statement which is now provoking the other side of my people on my right. So,
I withdraw. Can I have the microphone, somebody?
Yeah.
I withdraw the word dictator and say PF are very democratic. Congratulations. If that sits well with them, they're extremely, extremely democratic. But you know the truth.
No. Mr. Nkombo was on the floor, is already seated. Take your seat, Mr. Chavi. Let's move to the next one.